That's right.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. I'm Bill Valona with the Blue Wahoos Media Relations Department and Events Coordinator with Shannon. And first off, welcome. Thanks for being here. And the way this will work is I want to introduce the mayor, of course, Anthony. Right behind me is our vice president. He can speak as well. He will follow the mayor and speak as well on what we're going to announce. First, we have our mascot Kazoo, and over there in the green is Shannon Hanna, our events manager. Both Shannon and Anthony have put a lot of work into this, and so we're very happy to present what we're going to say here. So I'll turn the program over to DC, and then when we're done with that, he will get on with business of the city. Again, thank you all so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill. I may have Kazoo stick around and answer some questions of city business. It depends on the questions I get. Again, hey, thank you guys all so much for being here, and I want to echo a big thank you to Wahoos for the announcement today of as you recall, Florida State and Auburn played here last year, and as I mentioned last year, it was a pet project of mine as an MSU grad to say to have Florida State baseball, obviously a storied program for generations to play in my hometown, and we were able to make that happen in partnership with the Wahoos last year. And last year we saw, I believe, the largest crowd ever, close to 6,000 people that ever watched a baseball game in the stadium. And for a game that is an exhibition, I think really says a lot about not only the fan support of Florida State and Auburn, but that this really is a thriving baseball community, and I think you could see it there last year. So I'm certainly honored to announce that Florida State will be coming back to play yet again another fall ball game here against Mississippi State on Saturday, October 18th, first pitch at 1 p.m. I will let Anthony go through some of those details in a second on all the things that the fans will want to know about access to tickets. I believe it sold out in like 10 minutes or something last year, so Anthony can give you details on that. But we're certainly excited to have Coach Jarrett from MSU, new Coach O'Connor from Mississippi State. I believe there were 18 players last year that were drafted that were in the game. We expect a number like that, or maybe perhaps eclipsing that, to again, very strong traditional story programs coming here to play on our beautiful waterfront. So excited to play a small role in that, to yet again partner with the Wahoos to bring an amazing game here. So I'll pass it off to Anthony for any of those extra details that the Wahoos can provide, and Anthony and myself can take any questions that you might have on this issue. So anyway, thank you guys again for being here.
All right, everybody, thank you. Good morning. Special thank you on behalf of Pensacola Blue Wahoos and Mayor DC Reeves and the city of Pensacola for really helping us make this happen again. Huge success last year. We did sell out really, really quickly for this FSU-Auburn game last year. We're so excited to bring FSU and Mississippi State this year. Different brand of baseball, and we're just excited to make it happen. Florida State and Mississippi State will, as the mayor said, play on Saturday, October 18th at 1 p.m. Tickets will go on sale Tuesday, August 12th. At 9 a.m. Central Time. Tickets can be purchased at bluewahoos.com or by calling the Pensacola Blue Wahoos our box office ticket office, 850-934-8444. We're excited to have this happen. We can't thank the mayor enough for his work with just helping bring this baseball to Pensacola. I think our fans have enjoyed it in Pensacola. A lot of alumni from both universities. We're really thankful to have this happen twice.
With Kazoo? Yeah, let's get a photo quick.
The man of the hour.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'd like to say something, but you can't. One other thing to mention too, the teams will arrive Friday on the 17th, and I think we'll have separate workouts in the afternoon, evening time, more details to come on that the night before. And I think I've already got a call from being an FSU alumni, coincidentally letting me know that FSU was coming to Pensacola, and I said, well, I was aware of that. And I'm sure there's going to be some alumni events and a lot of exciting things going on in the evening before and the morning of. Also, I know the tailgating was very popular last year. I expect that will be the same this year in parking lot here, and actually it expanded to across the street. So, it was an awesome atmosphere last year, and certainly excited to have that. With that, any questions?
On this note, with the amount of Florida State fans we have in the area, there's no secret that they would help fill this up, but surely Mississippi State baseball fans are coming here. I mean, we know the Auburn fan base is in the area. Mississippi State has a huge fan base for baseball. Do you expect this to be 50-50 in the stand?
Well, as an FSU alum, I can't. I'm thinking 51-49 at least with Florida State. I will tell you this: last year, I got lots of requests coming in about what the mayor can do about making sure that they got tickets. So I won't let my bias show too much, but I'll try to make sure there's as many FSU fans as possible. But absolutely, I think these are two, again, power programs. Mississippi State, Starkville, not too far away, and again, I think their reputation speaks for themselves within baseball. Another great year last year, new coach coming in. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of excitement. And anytime there's a new coach, you want to kind of see what the brand of baseball is going to be. So I fully expect you'll have enthused crowds on both sides. And 50-50, I think would probably be safe to say right now, because purely of both the geography and the strong tradition of both teams.
Have you yourself challenged the mayor of Starkville to a challenge?
I hadn't sized them up yet. I got to go get on Wikipedia, make sure that they can't throw harder than I can. But no, listen, I think I know that this is an exciting time for FSU baseball, the way that the program has really bounced back. And, it's kind of funny when things are going well or not going so well. I really attribute a lot of the ability to have this was during Coach Jarrett's first year. It was a struggle when he took over the program in year one, and that's when we kind of started having this conversation. And it had been difficult to get Florida State here in the past, not because they didn't want to, but just because of demand. It was hard to get them to come here, and certainly I hope for the future that we can start talking about mini tournaments, like that they play that are during the regular season. If that ends up being a possibility, I think that would be something really exciting to explore. You're seeing that more and more now because of really how things work in college baseball now, is to be able to play a lot of valuable games in one weekend, for example, or over 2 or 3 days, is kind of the new wave of how they're handling some of the non-conference. So I would love, easy for me to say all the Wahoos around here are the ones that have to make that happen and get all the work done, but I'd love to eventually see us go into having kind of a pre-conference season regular tournament where we get 6 or 8 of these teams come in and have some really big games. I think that would be certainly exciting for us.
Anthony, can you talk about the appeal to Wahoos Stadium in this area for teams like Florida State? I mean, it was different Auburn last year, Mississippi State this year, but what makes Florida State interested in wanting to continue on with this?
I think just the fan base here in Pensacola that are FSU fans, it's a unique opportunity to kind of take them out of what they know in Tallahassee, bring them into Pensacola, just kind of make a different attempt into the Panhandle. I think this venue being a pro venue gives the players a different feel, gets them to kind of get a taste for what pro ball can be like for them. But in terms of fan base, this is a no-brainer for us. I mean, last year we sold out our tickets almost instantaneously. I mean, it was about 20 minutes, they were gone. We expect that to be happening again, just because FSU shows out, and we're hoping Mississippi shows out too. We're excited for that.
I'll add too, it was a cool opportunity last year, the night before. You saw both teams, FSU and Auburn, come out on the field with their cameras, and even these guys that are going to be first-round picks and are going to be stars of the league were kind of in awe of the backdrop, the setting, the scenery that we uniquely provide here in Pensacola that you don't really see at minor league stadiums around the country. It's why we're number one, number two. It feels like every year on minor league baseball stadiums nationally, and so I thought that was kind of a cool thing too, is that these are going to be very accomplished players, both in college and professional. And they even kind of get starstruck by that awesome view and the port and pay, and that was something that they appreciated right when they got off the bus. And so, again, I'm sure we'll get more of that this year.
A lot of the, or you said 18 players were drafted last season from this game alone, and a lot of them by the Marlins that they can come back and go out and say, how cool is that for the city of Pensacola to potentially see guys that they may see, a year or two down the line?
Yeah, well, and that's the exciting thing about when you have this high caliber level of college baseball. The exciting thing is you're able to, you're going to be seeing guys that are going to be suiting up professionally very, very quickly, not only at single A or double A or triple A, but be on a fast track to the majors. And so that is the exciting part. And again, you look at the FSU roster, even some of the guys coming back this year that are expected to be very high draft picks. Mississippi State, I'm sure, will reload, and especially in this world of NIL now, where these are already two-story programs that I'm sure have a big investment in these players and making sure that they stay on the forefront, having the top talent in the country. So we're very, very excited to see all those guys play. And again, I think that is the draw, is you're not only seeing two good teams that have two strong fan bases, but you're seeing some of the best college baseball players in the United States. And so even for a fall ball game, it may not count on the schedule, but as we saw last year, that didn't matter because it sold out in a few seconds, and it was the biggest crowd ever see a game. So I'm definitely excited for that.
We're not going to see any kind of executive order from the city banning cowbells in city facilities?
You know what? When I told somebody about this yesterday, I was asked if there was going to be cowbells in the stadium. I don't know any. We do have noise ordinances that I get emailed about quite often. I'll have to, but it may be in the evening hours only. I don't know. I'll have to peruse ordinances on the books, or Jimmy might have to ask city council what they want to do since they run the ordinances in the city. But I imagine even with said ordinance, we would probably still have a few of those cowbells sneaking here. Is my hunch. Anything else? All right.
Bring a lot of people in.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kazoo. All right. A few things just to run through. I say a few, more than a few, but I'll go as quickly as I can. First, while we're here at Maritime Park, I know there's an announcement that was put out just a few minutes ago on a new development happening with the Hard Rock and the Rebirth project over here right behind us at Lot 5. The Johnson Company, who is obviously the current leaseholder of that project, has entered into a partnership with CCI, Corporate Contractors Incorporated. And I think this shows not only the strength of investing in the city of Pensacola, but the reputation that we're building nationally. And that is because CCI is one of the companies of Diane Hendricks, and she will be part of this as a co-developer and co-owner. And we're certainly looking forward to that collaboration. I've had a chance to meet with her a couple of times while she's been down here, and she is an absolute icon in entrepreneurship and female entrepreneurship in the United States, and is the most successful self-made female entrepreneur in the United States. And so I think the message that sends is that to be an investable city, the one that people really are bullish on, there's no better barometer than saying somebody that's been as successful as Diane Hendricks and her team that have done hundreds of billions of dollars of projects around the country are interested in the city of Pensacola. So certainly that's an exciting development for us, and we'll see where that goes. I did get a question about whether a change in ownership would need to go back to city council on the lease. Not sure of that yet. It probably depends on how they end up structuring. Will the existing LLC stay as the operator, and this is just something they're handling on their side of things, or would the name need to change? So we would have to see some more details to be able to see if there's any other action that would need to take place. But again, to have someone with the strength of CCI and Diane Hendricks backing a project in Pensacola, that only makes its reliability to happen and the ability to execute it exponentially greater. Not that we didn't believe that Harold Dawson and Dennis and his whole team have done a great job moving this project forward so far. We had no hesitation about that, but certainly when you hear that news, that we think that that's going to be a huge, significant upgrade to this project. And again, you have someone that is as successful as Ms. Hendricks coming in here and wanting to support a project in Pensacola. Second, we've decided to reschedule the meeting at Fricker Center, the second meeting. The new date's going to be Wednesday, August 13th. I believe we're looking at 8 to 9:30. We wanted to ensure if I'll share some of the feedback that we received on the project. We certainly want to go through a lot of that. There was some feedback that we got that was very productive, very relevant to what we were working on, what we were there to do, which is ultimately to hear from the users of the community center and see what they see as important things to be in this renovation project. So we want to be able to marinate on those a little bit. We also have some building issues to look into from an environmental standpoint that have caused us that we might want to take a few more days and make sure we understand that fully before we're going back and being able to share as much full information as possible with the citizens. So certainly committed to this project and want to get the feedback we can provide you. We have a whole sheet, our team in the back that helped conduct this and all feedback that we've had so far. We've got a whole sheet of just different things from what the community wants to see in outdoor spaces, conditions, in the social hall, gymnasium, a workforce development lab that will be there on site. So lots of exciting things to chew on and think about and try to incorporate as many of those as we can into a new Fricker Center. Try to skip one. Baptist Hospital on the council, the county agenda. Our position right now is, we've requested again that this be on the agenda for the August 7th meeting. We haven't received that confirmation yet, and that doesn't mean it isn't going to be on there. But we are starting to put deadlines in jeopardy of kind of slipping away in terms of their commitment to helping partner with us on the project. So at some point, I believe we're month number 6 now into this conversation about what the county wants to do or not do. And certainly I respect their decision, whatever that's going to be, but I certainly would like there to be a decision made. And I think Commissioner Kohler probably said it best, and I think he was talking about it. Obviously, it's a separate issue, but he said, if you aren't going to approve anything, just put it on the record so we know which way to go. It's not fair to these agencies. I believe we're going to help them or run them around. If you just take out Children's Trust or whatever that was and put it Baptist, I couldn't agree more. I think we've got to get this project moving. We have state partners. We've got Baptist as partners. We've got 2 100-unit buildings going in. There are a lot of people at the table, and we need to be moving this project forward one way or the other. So again, very respectfully hope and request that this be on the agenda for a vote, and we'll do the best we can to get them all the information we need or resend it to them, whatever the case may be. But we've been in conversation now for many months on the county wanting to make a decision. I certainly hope that they're able to do that. While we're talking about county, one thing I certainly want to highlight that the county has been a great partner with us in that I fully support is the Project Reconnect. If you guys recall, the Real Change Project Reconnect program was helping us take some unhoused individuals who could be in the city, could be in the county. This is not limited to just the city, but being able to get them to their next of kin. Be able to, if you can find better success with a parent, with a sister, with a brother in another location, that there are dollars that were set aside to be able to provide that for you. So far we've been able to, in partnership, and this is led by the county, and we're just a very active partner, of course, with our community response team. Is to date we've been able to help 220 homeless individuals, including 10 children, that have been given transportation to the support system across the country. Obviously, it comes with a cost, and I believe it's over $41,000 to date that's been invested on those 220 folks to help get them where they can have the best chance to have quality of life and be able to find success. And so I'm a huge supporter of that. I know that Project Reconnect and the team over there will be going to the county to help get that fund replenished. And this is just my way. That is their decision. But I can tell you that it's been impactful for us in the city, and that our community response team continues to work hand in hand with Project Reconnect to help give those folks a second chance back in the place where they can be most successful. So did want to mention that, and I know that conversation probably at the county level will be coming along. At last count, recycling wise, we now have more than 2,000 customers that's going up by the hundreds every few days. As expected, this is not something I would be going to expect to have all filled overnight, but we're pleased with the trajectory so far. We've been able to drop off 2 loads of clean recyclables to the MRF now already. And one of the other more details on glass and why we aren't taking glass, ECUA does, the confusion is that ECUA does take glass in their own program. In our program, we're not saying we're taking glass. And one of the reasons is, yes, ECUA takes glass, but it costs them about $550 a load to take it to Georgia for it to be processed. So yes, they take glass, but there's no market that allows that to be supported long term. And so our feeling is, hey, let's use the core 4 items that can be supported, can be financially supported, to make sure it's sustainable. So we're not promising to do one thing and having to change our mind a little bit later. So sticking to those 4 core, it should be on your lid on our website, and everybody should be getting direct mail: paper, cardboard, aluminum and steel cans, and plastic bottles, jars, and tubs. And additional note: the recycling bins on Summit have been full for the last 2 months, full and contaminated, 100% contaminated. So that was a lingering problem when we had curbside recycling before, was that these drop-off sites were, I believe we took it in the living room set. We got installed it last week at the drop-off location, which clearly is not recyclable. So that drop-off becomes an issue. We are committed to maintaining it, but that's why many cities have actually gone to a monitored drop-off like we did on Palafox, because you're just going to end up with a little bit more cleaner recycling. So hopefully that's just a growing pain of going back to curbside, and then we can get that cleaned up a little bit better. The lease for Legion Field, just an update. The lease was signed on July 18th, giving the go-ahead for the Rafferty Center Legion Field. You guys recall that council vote. That lease is now a 46-year lease with SYSA that put $3 million into the project. Has been fully executed. So we are ready to go, and I believe that is hitting our permitting office any hour or any day now. So excited for that. National Night Out. I do want to remind the community National Night Out is next Tuesday, August 5th, and it's at Roger Scott from 5 to 7. I was there last year, great turnout, and PDD does a great job with this. They do the popular K9 demonstration. No, I will not be volunteering to put that thing on my arm. I just watch from the sidelines. But if anyone's interested, let us know. But yeah, it's a great turnout. We have a touch of truck and all different folks from around our community and nonprofits out here doing great work. And then lastly, 2 things. Party in the Park event, second annual Party in the Park, August 9th and August 16th from noon to 6. And that's to promote the continuing community engagement. We're at 25 meetings in county for Hollis T. Williams for community engagement, and that's 2 more of those to try to engage with folks, not just in an office type setting, but to get feedback from them, both immersed in the park itself and to do it in kind of a more creative way than just something that's on the second floor of City Hall. So looking forward to that. That's August 9th and 16th, more to come. And then lastly, just a point of note, Mayor Reeves, our former interim housing director, has resigned. She has relocated out of the area, and Tracy Pickens has been named our interim housing director for now. So with that is everything I've got. I'm happy to take the questions.
Mayor, on the Burger Center meeting, you said it's being rescheduled to August 13th, 8,
That's right.
8 to 9:30. Is that in the morning?
Yes, that's right. And one thing, just to reiterate why, and this is customary with really many of the events, that when we do multiple community engagements, is you want to do them at different times. For example, the biggest component of this is that we're going to build the second senior center that's ever existed in the city. We haven't built one for decades. Of course, there's one over on Navy Park, but there is no senior center run by the city on the west side of town. So to do that, then having people who maybe can't drive at night, or we thought the morning hours and changing that up would be more suitable to ensure that we make sure other voices are heard. And again, in the 25 meetings of Hollis T. Williams, we do them at different times. I think that just made more sense if we were going to do 2 events. And again, we thought we were under. It was very rare for us to do 2 events in 8 days. Normally, we're one or the other. We would either do back-to-back events, like we would do 2 nights in a row, or we would spread them out over 2-3 months. We thought we had some limiting factors with the Florida Commerce Grant to have it done by August 1st, but with some of the condition issues that we're looking at in the building right now, we have an extension on that, and so we were able to not have to jam these in, two within 8 days. It allows us to go back and hear the feedback that was shared, and digest that a little bit more, and try to get a little more clarity on the building condition and all that, because the building condition itself also alludes to what can actually be done in the building. And so those are some things that we wanted just a little more time to work through.
I guess, are you concerned at all about the perception that will create, especially after the last meeting where there was a lot of anger expressed about just changing Black Community in Pensacola and then moving the meeting to a morning meeting where a lot of people were at work? I mean, are you concerned that that's...
No, I mean, first of all, we also have a town hall in District 7 scheduled for August. We don't have a final date yet. And I mean, ironically, we had a town hall the night before this meeting that I think some of those conversations, which, listen, I think anybody bringing any concern that they have with the city is important to allow that opportunity. But I think in this specific case, there were things that might be more relevant as a town hall discussion and a larger discussion about the community at large and concerns about the changing community and what does or doesn't cause that. But again, we got plenty of great feedback from many individuals there that were there to meet about the topic at hand, which was this Scrimmage Center. I've heard floated out that is this renovation of a facility on the west side of town a hindrance to or some causation for perceived gentrification or whatever the case may be? Obviously, we can look into that, but I feel like the dynamic is, and I think it was the quote in your paper that says, I don't take it personally when someone says it's hard to believe that the city is going to just come in and put in $9.5 million and there not be some ulterior motive. We have no ulterior motive other than we want to take a facility that has been left behind, the same way we've done with Cobb Center, that's about to take on $1.7 million. So it wasn't going to need to be on a list of being in danger, because we want these to stay, we want these to thrive, and certainly if I felt like the community as a whole, not one or two people, but if the community as a whole said, I don't think a $9.5 million renovated facility is good for our community, then certainly we would take heed to that, so again, one way or the other, whether they agree or they don't agree with me, we're not going to just stop at 1 or 2 comments or 5 or 10 comments. I think what we need to do is we need to get the lay of the land, and if any neighborhood thought that it was a hindrance or it was a detriment to go renovate a long forgotten community center, then we would certainly look into that. But again, I think we're trying to focus on what this project is about, which is not just to have a nice new gymnasium or have a place for kids for after school, although it will be those things. But as you guys have reported on now for well over a year, this is going to include Career Source Florida, Career Source Escarota, a subsidiary of Career Source Florida. They'll have a computer lab to help create job opportunity. It'll have senior wellness in partnership with Baptist Hospital. And I think as proposed right now, there could be no better definition of the actual term community center than what's being discussed right now. So, keep I believe I would certainly put up our track record of community engagements in town halls in the almost 3 years I've been here. On rough math, I would think we're over 100 on every project, and I would put that up against any administration that has ever been here. I don't feel insecure about how much we're trying to engage the community, and this is a rescheduling of an event. It's not the cancellation of an event. So we've just given you the dates, and certainly folks can go there, or they can go to a town hall, as well, to share some of those issues.
Mayor, I had a couple questions on the parking story we did earlier this week in East Hill. So it's reported a parking compliance officer told a citizen he was chalking vehicles around the city and going back 24 hours later to, I guess, ticket the cars. we've reported too that this was a complaint-driven process. Is it both? Is it a mix or which one?
It is a complaint-driven process, period. And as I have mentioned, that, and I certainly appreciate folks reporting, we have no proactive plan. We don't have someone just driving around the city. That's not feasible logistically. It's not feasible financially. It's not feasible under any circumstance that we would be doing that. And we don't have the bandwidth, nor the labor, nor the time to just be driving around hundreds and hundreds of miles of city-owned road to handle those issues. However, we do have ordinances that we are asked to uphold, and one of those is 24 hours of parking. Now, there's lots of ordinances that have a little, interpretation to them. I think we would all know it if we were out on the 25th hour that had someone parking in front of their house that was always getting a ticket. I think we would all know that. You all would have been asking me about this a long time ago. But in circumstances where someone calls and complains, our choice is to ignore the ordinance on the books, or we have to go investigate and go search out. Now, what I can tell you is our parking attendants, our folks handling that, whether it be code, whether it be parking, that these are human beings that understand. They want to give warnings. They want to make sure that people know what's going on. We're not trying to. Again, there is no incentive for us to be spinning bandwidth out there. We just want to make sure people are aware of the rules and follow the rules. So in the case that you're discussing, that had been notified multiple times, including multiple visits to City Hall. And so the idea or the impression that I certainly took issue with, not for me, but in defense of our staff who works really hard, and I try to defend them when then really right or wrong, at the end of the day, the buck stops with me. And I wanted to ensure that folks understood these the alleged random cases that we're just going around and patrolling neighborhoods is not the case. We are trying to follow up on city ordinances, and if someone continues to break that, then there's something that we have to do.
Repeat offenders, basically. There's a trend that they're finding with some of these cars and then going back.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I believe if you look at some of them, they're not even in front of the person's house, they're across the street, or they'll already actually be room in the driveway privately, and that they're used as right away. And listen, I think when you look at it in a silo, and a citizen hears that, and they say, well, man, that is maybe that's overreaching, that it's 24 hours. Well, again, we have a very, very short list of tickets that are actually being written. And think about it. Go drive in East Hill or North Hill or Langley or anywhere in the city. And if we were doing that proactively, there'd be so many tickets out there at the 24-hour mark that everybody would be knowing and talking about it. And certainly that is not how I plan to run the administration. But we do have to have some legal purview to not allow someone to store vehicles. If you don't have that ordinance, which it keeps getting thrown around, we don't have that ordinance, then what stops anybody from parking every RV or every third or fourth vehicle on the street for weeks at a time? Now people would call us and say, well, why can't you get this RV that's been in front of my house for 4 months moved? And we would say, well, we don't have an ordinance that allows it. So you got to look at it both ways, not just in the silo of saying, well, 24 hours seems overreaching. We've got to have the ability to do something if someone is using the public right of way for storage, which is a public safety issue as well. It's not just convenience or something that you're looking at outside your house. There's public safety ramifications for cars sitting there for weeks and weeks at a time. And so that's why it's on the books. You'll have to ask whatever generation it was that put that in. It certainly wasn't us. But I certainly understand why it exists, is so we can be able to enforce egregious things happening, repeat offenders, to your point, in the right of way.
A follow-up to that, you talked about defending your staff. You and I have talked about social media before, and
yeah.
the ever-changing world, and you being transparent. Press conferences aren't the only way to get out there anymore, and
yeah.
we see you on Facebook on different topics, depending on what it is. Why do you feel the need to do that, to go on social media, and do you feel safe doing that? 20 years ago, it would have been weird to see elected officials on social media. It's very common now.
Yeah, my position on this has been, I think things have changed a lot in the last, I'm going to say 5 to 7 years, and that what I noticed, especially early on, and I think the general consensus would have been, hey, hey, don't get on there, don't get into conversations back and forth, and rarely there'll be one that comes across contentious. The vast majority of the time, it's information, and I don't ever get into discussions with if someone says they think Mayor Reeves is doing a great job or not a great job. I don't get into any of that. But what I do think is important for us or a city representative is to make sure that facts are understood. And so not subjectivity, not we think this is great or we think this is bad. And again, that's certainly someone's right on social media to be able to share those thoughts, whether it's about me personally, about our staff, about whatever. I try to certainly stay out of that. But when someone says 1 + 1 is 3 online, here's the issue that I think has changed in the last 5 to 7 years is it's incredible how many people take that Facebook comment with no backup, and I'm asked about it 5 times at a Rotary Club. I can't believe the city's doing X, Y, and Z. So to your point, and go look at our survey of how many people, when we actually ask the question every year on the Haas Center survey, we say, where do you get your information about the city? And the number 1 is social media. So call it a necessary evil, call it a double-edged sword, whatever the case may be. And everybody's got a different position on that. But I do feel the duty that both, whether it's our PIO staff, our city staff, our Parks and Rec staff, whoever is engaging, that we try to make sure that when we're talking about facts, about 1 + 1 being 2, not being 3, that it's important that we try to set that expectation. And then subjectivity and opinion beyond that just is what it is, and that's just going to always be kind of the downside or the secondary aspect of social media that's just always going to exist.
I have a question. It involves the ordinance and stuff. The only thing that seems to be out of date is like family members coming back to visit, and they come back to visit for about a week. Some stay for a few days and stuff like that. How about those guys?
Yeah. So again, I think we have to look in fact, and what we have to look at is how many of these tickets are being written in our neighborhoods. And if they were being written for every college kid coming home, then all of us would be hearing about it. I would not hear the end of it if we were actually proactively. So if you don't believe us, our alibi would be, think about it, we were proactively doing this in neighborhoods right now. There would be so many tickets out there because of exact scenarios like that. But we have other ordinances like this that have nothing to do with parking where it's on the books, but there's an ordinance, and then there's the common sense intent of an ordinance. And the common sense intent is if we didn't have that ordinance and somebody were, I don't know, living in an RV on your street in East Hill, and then someone called the mayor or their council person and said, we don't think they should be doing this, I don't think a sufficient answer would say, well, sorry, we don't have anything on the books to be able to have that car removed. And I have not looked at it, but I would venture to guess we would be a significant outlier in the city of Pensacola if we had nothing on the books that pertained to this issue. I would imagine the vast majority of cities have something to this effect. So if a council member wants to bring forward, they're in charge of ordinances. If the council member wants to bring forward an ordinance that would change that, but I can tell you, if it was proposed that we don't have it anymore, then my recommendation to that council person proposing that would be, well, how would you feel if we just forwarded all of those complaints in your district to you, and you can handle if somebody's been parked there for weeks at a time. So it's just trying to strike a balance, and I think when you get out of the hyperbole and we get into data, I think it will show that the tickets that are being written is not a proactive thing. This is a multiple warnings. We've told you about this before. As a matter of fact, I think the one in question, if you go on Google Maps right now, I think the car is on there from April as well in the exact same location. So,
have it moved?
Yeah, well, I don't know whether it's moved or not, but I just mean, and it's across the street from the house, and the house has private parking available in the driveway. So, and we have shared this all with this particular person. And I'm not trying to make it about this particular person or issue that was kind of the catalyst of this, but we've got to have something that doesn't allow someone to have vehicles stored on the public right of way for weeks and weeks at a time. That is really the goal here.
So I understood the point of the ordinance stuff. It's just that the hypothetical thing is to help the
Right. Well, and again, it's easy and convenient to do a what if I got one on the 24th hour or the 10th minute. And again, I would venture to say, hey, if anybody wants to, if you want to show us a ticket where you knew nothing about it, never had a warning before, never heard from our staff, and you got a ticket in the neighborhood on the 24th hour and 10th minute, then reach out to 311 or reach out to our staff. Again, we should have some type of complaint on file, but that is the intent of that ordinance. It is not this spun up speculation that we're somehow going out and patrolling neighborhoods, right?
Aaron, on the Baptist Hospital
Yeah.
issue, so you talked about, y'all want to see it on the agenda on August 7th. I guess if it's not on the agenda on August 7th, what happens then?
Well, I mean, I think that Baptists and ourselves have to circle back together. You know, there's lots of conversations about, I mean, I believe at the county meeting, there was a conversation about, well, would Baptists be willing to give these properties to the county if they supported the project? And I said I would be supportive of that. I'm certainly going to change my position on that if the county decides to put in $0 towards the project. So there are other things to work through with Baptist. Listen, I think the city is steadfast in its commitment to not allowing blight to sit in our neighborhoods for years and years and years at a time, and that is our motivating factor here, is to not allow that and to be able to provide affordable housing opportunity that's already going to be taking place there on site. So we continue to move in that direction. My position is this has been discussed now at the county level since early 2024, and we've come back, as you guys are well aware, many times, or we've shared information. We've done everything that we've been asked to do from the county's perspective, and I think where we left it was they were going to go find and see what type of financial commitment they wanted to make. So I just mean at some point we've got to move. I mean, we have extensions with our agreement with Baptist to be able to close on the property. We've already enacted both of those extensions, waiting on nothing else other than the county. And so at what point does this wait and this ambiguity become unreasonable? And maybe we just take that as our no. I don't know why. Just let's put it up for a vote. If 3 people vote against it, certainly, again, I'll always respect, doesn't mean I agree with it, but I'll always respect a body's decision to decide to vote or not vote for something. Obviously, I hope that they would see the value in this and want to approve it, but that's the case. But what I do think is unfair to us is to continue to delay even discussing it. And so, as Commissioner Kohler said on a different topic, let's not beat around the bush. Let's get this thing going. Let's vote for it. Let's vote against it, whatever the case may be. But I think our team has been working on this for years now, and our state has stepped up. Many people have stepped up to try to make this happen, and I don't think it's fair to those to have to continue to wait and sit around for another month or another 2 months. That could put this project in jeopardy. Jim, as you know, we've got a demo bid. We have a bid that doesn't last forever either, right? So you can't just hold on to a bid and then for a year and then say, okay, we want that price. That price may change. And so there are other timelines that are working against us that really don't afford us the opportunity to wait a 7th month on the county to do something. So again, if they need information from me, great. We're happy to provide it. We have it already. And I just hope to see that on the agenda one way or the other.
How long is that bid valid for?
I know it can still take place in the fall. I don't have the exact date on me, but again, we're running into multiple different inclusive. I would say the largest are the validity of the demo bid as well as the actual agreement with Baptist Hospital of when we need to close, which is the agreement between the city and Baptist. That actually includes language that says $2 million for Baptist since that conversation started last year. So if that isn't going to happen, then obviously we would have to get back to the drawing board, and we need time to do that to see where we land.
If the county doesn't put it up, what happens? Is the project in danger?
I think it's too early to say what is or isn't, because I'd be speculating as to what the city, the county's going to do. I've had commissioners reach out to me and saying, hey, maybe it's not the whole number, but we can work on something. We've obviously had commissioners, be adamantly opposed to it, and maybe some in between. So that we're focused on. Let's get this behind us one way or the other, so we can move on with our lives. All of us, the county, the city, the Baptist, the state. And so it's too early to speculate whether the project's going to be in danger or not. I think let's try to get this done one way or the other.
Aaron, I got one last question. We're working on a story on younger people moving out of the state in search of affordable housing and opportunity. Florida Chamber has a report. 2023 saw the highest number of younger people migrating out. what is the city doing, and what have you guys spent your time as mayor to try to drive opportunity for younger kids to stay here?
Yeah, really, I think our focus has been twofold. One is, you guys have heard me say, really trying to invest in place. And what I mean is, every generation younger than me in the American workforce are the first two-ish generations in the United States of America that have chosen to live in a city and then found a job. So everybody about my age or older, they moved to, when I was a sports writer, I moved to whatever town was going to have me, right? And that's how it has been for generations. So we've seen that as a seismic shift in our country, as a society, to say, well, hey, you know what? I may not have the exact job I want out of college or out of trade school, but I'm going to move to this town that I really enjoy, that I think is safe, and that I think is a good place to live, and then I'll figure it out from there. Well, I think a big driver is to invest in place, in walkability and bikeability, and public safety, all of those type of things. So I think that's one. And then secondly, I've seen that report as well, and I think that's a big conversation about childcare. I think that one of the issues that I think we're seeing, and I think it's unfair to call it a trend yet. It is a one-year line. Let's see what happens over the next year or two. But it's certainly, we want to look at it with caution in the fact that we've seen a net migration in the younger age groups of zero, versus if you look at every other age group moving to Florida, it's a significant positive. And is it the price of insurance? Is it the price of housing? And is it access to child care as well? Because when you actually go and study the states they are moving to, South Carolina, Texas, Georgia, North Carolina, that seems to be where we'd be losing folks. They're going to have a little bit lower cost of living in many of those areas. So what is it? We don't know, but I think both investing in place, obviously all of the big major capital housing initiatives that we're trying to get going, like Baptist Hospital, to just increase inventory period at every price point. And then lastly, our child care access program, we feel like there's lots of professionals living in the workforce, maybe moving back home from Florida because they need their parents or the grandparents of their children to watch them because they don't have access to child care. And we just saw that other unfortunate report of more of that funding cut happening here in our state as well. So those are the things that we're focused on, and hopefully that can help turn the tide. And hopefully, again, it could be a one-year outlier, and we could be back to that positive migration in the state many years ago.
When you were growing up here, I'm from a small town in East Tennessee, so it was like we had to leave.
Yes.
When you were growing up here, what was the idea? The sentiment was you guys wanted to stay or you wanted to go?
Yeah, no, I think when I left high school, I assumed I wasn't coming back because there wasn't that opportunity, and that's why. There's lots of lists and put top 25 this, top 100 that, and I think the one that just came out recently about it not only being a top 25 city, the only city in Florida, but the fact that it's for job growth. I mean, to me, that really is a testament to all of these other mechanisms that we're trying to push, that we're trying to play with, in that we know that if job opportunity comes, so does quality of life, so does a quality workforce. Because if there wasn't a quality workforce here, and there wasn't a desire to live here, no one would be moving their businesses here. So the fact that we see that moving the needle here in Pensacola, I think is a very encouraging sign to see the growth in those key sectors, and that we are continued investment in those between American Magic, ST Engineering, and all of that. So when I left here, I never thought I'd come back. I would walk down on Saturdays on Palfox Street with my granddad who lived over off Barcelona, and at 11 a.m. on Saturday would not see one human being between Barcelona by the library all the way to the Buccaneer coin shop. I wouldn't see one human being on a Saturday, and that has changed drastically. I mean, even when I moved back after college to work in Pensacola in 2007, I remember how big a deal it was that there was a second restaurant on Palfox Street. Now think about how that seems like 50 years ago, and really it was 18 years ago. And so it's been awesome to see these city in demand opportunities, and yes, problems that come with growing things that come with a city in demand. But again, those are the type of problems the mayor likes to have, not the ones where you're begging for your most valuable asset, which is your talented young people to be able to stay. And I think we've seen the tide turn now to, hey, now we just want to have a job opportunity. We want to live in Pensacola. Can we find job opportunity? And so that's the challenge in front of us now, is to continue to grow those job opportunities for our talented young people and see where it goes. Anything else? All right. Thank you, guys.